Oh, hey, CrossFit New England. It's Coach Heather, awkwardly in bed here again, talking to you about sleep, part three. I want to talk about this idea that we need to get 8 hours of sleep. Yes, that is definitely the goal. 7 is our minimum. Anything more than 9 is not super extra beneficial, but 8 is a good number to just throw out there and have in the back of our brains. So what a lot of us do will think like, all right, I need to get up by 5 in the morning, and that means I need to go to bed at 9. The problem with that is that a lot of times we don't plan things. At least I know that we don't always do this really well. And we start getting ready for bed like around 5 of 9, which includes like putting on pajamas, brushing teeth, like winding down in the bedroom, like kind of like putting laundry away, and oh yeah, I forgot to plug my laptop in downstairs, or I'm thirsty, I need to go get some water, or oh, the light's on outside, I got to go turn that off. And just so many things are like build up at the end of the day, and so all of a sudden getting ready for bed 5 minutes before the time that we said we were going to be sleeping from 9 to 5 isn't really filling that 8 hour window that we're actually supposed to be asleep. So on top of that, like if we, so around, if I'm lucky enough to actually get in bed by, 9:10 or something, if I do all those extra little things, a lot of times we'll get to bed and then we start like flipping through Instagram and then checking emails and, oh yeah, what's the weather tomorrow? Oh, what's the workout going to be? And so like that time, you guys know, flies by, and all of a sudden 45 minutes later, you're still like getting ready for bed. So now we're an hour late. And then a lot of times what happens is because we're on our screens like leading up to that time when we're actually closing our eyes, our minds are racing, so it's hard for us to fall asleep. And then in the middle of the night, we get up to go to the bathroom, and all of a sudden we get back to bed, and again, we can't fall back asleep because our minds are racing. So we're sitting there for 30, 45 minutes, and then finally we give up and we check our phone to see, what's on the schedule for the next day. Then all of a sudden it's another 30 minutes. So now we're talking 2 hours later, not 2 hours later, but 2 hours are lost of that sleep time, that 9 to 5 window that I had. So now 8 hours has turned into 6 hours. So what I think we really need to do is start like on like a really honest foundation of understanding like how much sleep we're actually getting at night. So if I am actually only getting 6 hours, that's really important information for me to have so I can know how to adjust. Like I know then maybe I need to get into bed, like instead of 9 o'clock, maybe I should be shooting for like 8 o'clock at least. And then maybe I can like lengthen out my sleep on the other end, or I can try to do things like not drink any liquids after 4 or 5 o'clock, or, if I can try to not wake up in the middle of the night at all, like just little things like that to make sure that you're actually getting the 8 hours of sleep at least that you want to get. On top of that, and we'll talk about this next week, is the idea that quantity versus quality of sleep are two very different things. So it's kind of like with calories it's not all calories are created equal. We all know that. It's like 1,200 calories of processed foods and sugar and alcohol is not the same as 1,200 calories of fresh fruits and vegetables and lean meats and nuts and seeds and berries, and it's very different. It's still 1,200 calories, but it's not exactly the same quality. In the same way that 8 hours of sleep, even if you are getting 8 hours of sleep, of actual sleep, if you are drinking caffeine late in the afternoon, or drinking a glass of wine before you go to bed, or if you're using your screens in the middle of the night, those things are all affecting things like your REM sleep, your non-REM sleep, your ability to produce what you'd probably be producing more toxic chemicals in your body than you would if you were getting like quality of sleep. So we'll talk about that next week. We'll talk about quality, but right now let's just focus on quantity and figuring out like where we're starting and how we can adjust it so we actually are getting closer to 8 hours of sleep and not closer to 6. All right. Having said that, let's try to, Ben and I are coaching a class tomorrow morning at 7:30 on Tuesday morning, and we would love to see you there. So Tuesday, tomorrow morning, we're doing Kelly's house. All right, guys, let's get some sleep. Let's get a basis and a real understanding of how much we're sleeping at night so we can figure out how to head off from there. All right.